Hey everyone, news is out. I'm going back to the Isle of Man TT. I think I'm in the perfect team to revisit the circuit. I've got the best teammate, but probably a bit too fast. I'm looking forward to the changes that the event will have with the different schedule. It's been 5 years since I was last there, so it's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be hard to sort of ride as quick as you have before, but you also have to go through that learning process again. Like every time you go back to the TT, there's no way to learn the TT apart from being at the TT. So there's no substitute for practice, and there's no method for making yourself more ready. So unfortunately, I have to be willing to accept whatever my learning process allows me to do. Obviously, I want to go quick, I want to do well, I want to do new personal bests, and I believe the bike and the team are probably the perfect environment for me to do better than I've done before, given the people's understanding of the quality of the Norton, the last bike I rode there. So I think it's definitely possible to expect a personal best from myself, given the bike and team. But I can't force that. It has to come naturally. The first practice has to be ridden and experienced and felt before I can then progress to the second practice. The same as the first lap to the second lap. Since 2013, any year that I haven't been present hasn't been my choice. It's more circumstances. Either the team haven't wanted me to do it, or there haven't been a team that competes at the Isle of Man. So there's always been an outside reason for it. But I haven't really answered the question. What makes me want to come back and do the TT? I guess again, it's still on a selfish mindset, but it's the thrill, the sensation. It's what you get back. It's almost like sounds. I don't know how it's going to sound, but it's almost like you have a greater sense of being alive when you have so much to risk. So I feel like every sense of emotion is heightened. It's not like scary, like a roller coaster that you don't have control of. It's more of a thrill because you're in control of your destiny. So that makes you completely at peace, and it's not fear of the unknown. It's almost controlled thrill, and equally there's still that level of danger, so you have this greater sense and heightened experience, so that's ultimately what draws you back. So I'm Josh Brookes, and I'm being interviewed for this year's Isle of Man TT. I'm from Australia, and this year I'll be racing in Superbike and Superstock, and my racing number is 7. So hopefully it'll be full of smiles, and I would obviously like to race motorbikes forever.
Everyone on the grid, whose bike would you be prepared to ride on the back of?
Well, I've actually already did this a few weeks ago. I went on the back with Michael Rudder.
Really?
Yeah.
Round here or?
No, it was at a circuit in Spain.
Yeah.
But I thought I need to experience that sensation, because my wife always comes on the back with me everywhere we go on the road, and I'd like to think that she has like some level of comfort in my ability and skill, that I'm not gonna crash, but there's still, doesn't matter how much like faith you have in the person, you still got that like self-preservation comes out, and you have fear when you're in the back on the back. So I thought I've got to experience that so I can relate to that feeling. I don't do things well under pressure. Spur, Blig Bridge. See, someone like John McGuinness would do this perfectly. I was riding for Honda in the British Superbike Championship, so I had passes and everything to walk straight up to the holding area at the start-finish line. So I went right up to the.
You just got it from there.
Yeah, so I literally landed at the airport and come up to the pits in a car, got a lift, and then I walked up through the paddock, and it was a live track at the time. So I just walked up literally through the paddock, past all the security, at the gates and stuff, and then ended up in the holding area, and then walked up to that little gate that a lot of people watch from, and I was there, and that's sort of how it happened for me. Never really had any interest in coming, and the time between that mindset and thinking I'm going to do this was probably about 5 seconds. It changed from walking in and just being a spectator, and the same as you would to any event that you turn up to. It's like walking into the pub. You don't really think a lot about it. You're just doing a process, and then literally 5 seconds later, when those bikes going past, and I realised how intense it is. I was I'm going to do this. I didn't know when or how I was going to execute that process, but it was something had happened, and I'm going to do this. There's a lot of comebacks. A lot of the people that follow my career are following on the back of the BSB results, and the last 2 years in BSB have been not only disappointing for myself, but just as far as standards go, from going from winning the championship to then not winning another race for 2 years, struggling to get on the podium, and then sometimes struggling, in the last year even to make the top 10. You know what I mean? So for a lot of the last 12 months, I've been wrote off as he's too old, he's lost the drive, he's lost the motivation, he's lost something. You know what I mean? And it's not trying to blame anyone. I don't question people's method of thinking, because if I was outside of the inner circle, I'd probably think in the same manner. So I'm not angry at people's method of thinking. It's just, unfortunately, that I've got to endure that process of people think I'm done, and I haven't got what it takes anymore. And so I'm not only coming back to the TT this year, I'm coming back to prove, with a new brand, with a new team, new crew, to re-establish myself in a way, to say, look, I'm not over the hill. I haven't lost something. It's just, sometimes the circumstances aren't able to let me produce the results I'm used to producing. In English, I don't think there is one single word in English that describes the TT. Art.
The whole lap.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, you can feel the gravity of what you're doing. I mean, the start, although the start of the race isn't really what you do yourself, isn't any different. I mean, you apply the brake and you turn and you accelerate. The same whether it's a practice or a race, it doesn't make any difference. So really what you're doing isn't any different. You've already done it for a whole practice week. But obviously the race is like you're being judged now. You know what I mean? It's that. I think that's the difference. I think that creates more drama and pressure and anticipation. But like I was saying before, I feel like the nervous energy that's in all the people around you, and in, you know, whether it be in the stands or you know, the people in your own pit garage, everyone wants that you get home safely, you know, so you get that sensation of tension, and then that stays with you and kind of comes to sort of like a peak just as you're sort of all lining up to set off, you know, and you see the first guy set off and you kind of think, well, he's already at full relax now because he's away, or I've got to wait for my turn to get there so I can relax, you know, because it's not, like I said before, it's not until you set off that you then go, what was I worried about? You know what I mean? I'm just riding my bike, you know, and that's really how it is. Although you're doing it really fast, it's just us riding our bikes. That's really what it comes down to.
Please, is there anything sentimental that you bring with you? Do you certain visors or anything like that, or you literally just bring the camper from BSB and turn up to the TT?
Well, I bring my wife, but she comes everywhere with me, so that's no different. What do I bring to the TT? It's actually in the 14 years I think I worked out that I've been doing BSB, this is the best opening round to a season I've had. So we're definitely off to that, as you mentioned, flying start. Hickey has proven the quality of the staff in FHO team. Yeah. So I've once again got the luxury of just stepping into a already fully prepped, ready to go race team, and just take the benefits of that situation. Win in Australia, you know, that's the first target. Let's try and win there. And I won, and there was a bit of a rocky kind of process to that. So I won the Supersport Championship in 01, as I mentioned, and then I got a proper professional ride in 02, and then I ended up second in the championship that year. So then I was like, well, I've got to win. You know, second is still second. You know, I mean, why go all over the other side of the world to get beat when I can get beat at home? You know what I mean? It's far closer. And more, so if you just want to get beat, just stay at home. Yeah. So I was like, right, I've got to win. So then 03, I got injured just before the season, and it didn't work out. So then 04 was looking really good. I was leading Supersport, and for 03, 04, 05, I rode 600 and Superbike in the same championship. So I'd ride, you know, both categories in the weekend. So in 04, I was leading Supersport, I was leading Superbike. I got a wild card to race in the World Supersport, and I won that. And it just felt like this is
in Australia.
Yeah, this is all in Australia. So World Superbikes came to Phillip Island. Yeah. I got a wild card, and my team that I raced for in Australia put my bike on the grid in the World Supersport race, and I won. And so for me, that was me on the ramp up towards where I wanted to go. Yeah. And then the following round of the Australian Championship, well, actually there was another thing. Tenkate got in contact with Honda Australia and said we'd like to put Josh on a bike, and this was straight away, like in that season.
After that
race.
Yeah.
And Honda Australia went, well, no, we've contracted him to do a job here, so we want him to do that job. You know, we don't just want to give our our rider away. So so they said, no, you can't go and do it. So then
that must have been a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was, but I was still buzzing by the fact I even got there was even a consideration. Yeah. So I was thinking, well, if it's not right now, it'll come in some moment ahead. And at the following Australian Superbike Championship round, I got crashed into by another rider and separated my pelvis. So I was in hospital for a few weeks and had internal fixation, with plates and stuff like that, and then. I was in a wheelchair for a few weeks, and then I got to go home, and I was on crutches for a few months, and then, it was just a long, and so I went from like the peak of at that point my career and where it was going to like the lowest trough of where I've probably ever felt. So, but I think everybody's got a story in racing. There's no top level athletes that haven't got a story that's similar. So so then it was like a new target about, well, I've got to come back from this and recover and prove I can be fast again. Seen like onboard stuff like this before. I don't know. I've seen photographs, but never seen live footage. Never watched live footage.
That'd be you.
It's good. I personally, without actually having ridden the format and decided afterwards, obviously, I think it's obviously a change that people are trying to be proactive and make it a better show and have it more. Accessible and less intrusive to the people living on the island. If there's anything we can do that makes it better for any level of the event, then I'm all for it. It needs to work for everybody for us to have this race continue.
If you thought it might jeopardise your chances of winning the British title?
No, I don't think there's a way for it to be considered a jeopardising of my BSB preparation. Like I ride motocross every week as a training method, and I have done for years. So, riding a proper road racing bike on a circuit is far more relative to my BSB preparation than riding a motocross bike is. So, I don't see any motorcycle activity as being a hindrance to my British Championship preparations. 17 and 18, and I never really felt like I was one of the top guys. I still felt like I was kind of breaching that gap slowly. Whereas now to have 4 years of possible TT racing away, I feel like I've kind of got to reset maybe my targets and position a little bit and see where my progression leads to.
The Australian Josh Brookes, more used to seeing him in British Championship Superbike actions, and he's flying for a newcomer.
And the tiny screen shows us it's Hickman who takes his second win from 3 races.
Oh, Hickman holding on. It will be his 3rd win this week. He's nearly there.
So Josh Brookes comes through. Sounds great.
It is a 3-peat for Peter Hickman. 3rd win of the week here. Can anyone stop Peter Hickman?
Josh Brookes. Josh Brookes also in 5th place. Here he comes.
Woo! Everybody give it up for Peter Hickman and Josh Brookes.
It's been really, really good from my side. I've asked the team for a good number of years now. I'm not too fussed who my teammate is as long as they're competitive. And I've definitely got a competitive teammate right now, so I've got what I wish for, and it's working really, really well. And interestingly enough, even though we've not worked together before, we're setting up the bikes very, very similar, and we've got very similar feedback, and we have very similar thoughts about what we want to do with the bike, so it's actually worked quite well with the very limited testing that we've had already. I mean, Josh has already proven what the bike can do, so yeah, I'm looking forward to what TT 2023 can bring for us.
I find it really difficult to really put a pin in the map where I think I should be. Obviously, you know, I see what Peter can do, and we race bar to bar at BSB, and I see what I've done in my limited experience at the TT, so I try and use that as a guideline. And you know, I think in years to come, if I stay at it, or if I had stayed at it every year rather than having gaps, you know, I may be able to rival Pete and be on the podium already. But I think, you know, if everything goes really smoothly and I have a great practice week and I feel really good on the bike and I remember all the corners again quickly, I think maybe a podium is possible. At least I'd be super, you know, excited about a podium for sure.